I noticed that there has been a trend of old movies being released back in the theaters. That also happened last year as well, mainly due to the actors and writers strike that has been going on around. And for that, we have been getting films with last year, such as with Titanic and Jurassic Park for National Movie Theater Day, Studio Ghibli films for 2023 in order to be prepared for the new Studio Ghibli film, The Boy and the Heron, Perfect Blue, Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods for its 10th anniversary, Ghost in the Shell, Godzilla 2000, Scarface, Saving Private Ryan, Tokyo Godfathers, and Die Hard. Then we cut to 2024 of this year, where we had re-releases of films like Cowboy Bebop the Movie, Paprika, Kung Fu Panda, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, Inception, the Studio Ghibli movies again, the Gurren Lagann films, Alien for its 45th anniversary, and Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace for its 25th anniversary, and of course for May the 4th. And how can I forget the Amazing Spider-Man films? While some people prefer to watch these movies back at their homes, there has been a sense of nostalgia that captures a lot of people's attention to be brought back into the movie theaters. Unlike with new releases, where new releases have failed to capture the audience's attention, these all-classic releases have gained a lot of attention from people, mainly probably due to nostalgia, but it captured a lot of people's attention. Especially when people have a lot of nostalgia with the Raimi trilogy. I have a lot of nostalgia and fun memories with the Raimi trilogy, but I never actually got to see them in theater format. Well, that wasn't until when Sony announced that they were going to be re-releasing all the Spider-Man movies back in the theaters only for Monday, and I decided to give the Raimi trilogy a watch, this time in theater format, and seeing them in theater format, it felt like going back to the early 2000s. I've also started to rewatch the Amazing Spider-Man trilogy again, since I've grown up watching those films back in the theater back in the 2010 decade. I was in elementary school when I first started watching these movies, and rewatching them again now as an adult, they still manage to hold up well to be entertaining to this day, even though that, yes, they are overhated, but looking back at them now, I realize that they're not as bad as everyone makes them out to be. I also have a lot of nostalgia for Dragon Ball Z Battle of God. Sadly, I never got to see the movie in theaters when it first came out, and instead I only got the movie on Redbox, but I ended up seeing it again, this time in theater format. When I saw Battle of Gods again, this time in theater format, it was great seeing this movie again, this time in theater format, and I even remember that there were some Goku cosplayers, and even remember that there were some huge Dragon Ball fans in the theater. It was absolutely wonderful going back to the 2010 decade to see this movie again, this time in theaters. It's no surprise that the trend of re-releases have started since the beginning, even before COVID-19 and even before the rest of the 2020 decade. For example, with the re-release of the original Star Wars trilogy, they re-released the original trilogy as the special edition trilogy, giving fans back in the 90s the theater S-type style that they haven't experienced when Star Wars was released back in the late 70s and early 1980s. Or with another example being Akira. Akira was being re-released back in 2001, this time with a new English dub made by Pioneer, with having Johnny Youngbosch as the voice of Kaneda, being an update from the Streamline Pictures dub. Akira would also get re-released back in theaters again, this time around 2019 or 2020. Re-releases would come and go from time to time whenever there is some re-release of all classic movies in the theater. Then we cut to COVID-19, where everything has been delayed, leaving to movie theaters desperate and trying to maintain business. While there were some new releases, like with New Mutants and Tenet, they were beginning to re-release some old movies back in the theaters, considering that most of major Hollywood productions were being delayed to 2021 or later furthermore in the future. Sadly, I never had a chance to see any of those re-releases back during COVID-19, as I had to stay home, and this was back before I learned how to take transportation and everything. But then we cut to 2021. It was the year when people are going back into the movie theaters again, and I remember that in September of 2021, I wanted to go see Transformers the movie, this time in theater format, for its 35th anniversary, and I actually did. That was my first attempt to see a movie being re-released in theaters, and I would slowly pick up a few re-releases from one year to another year. Later throughout 2023, I would actually see some more re-releases of all classic films that I haven't seen in a while, and some all classic movies that I would like to see in theater format. With new releases, however, new releases have started to decline, as not a lot of people are really excited to see these new movies. Not a lot of people are really excited to see new modern MCU movies nowadays. and not a lot of people are tired of the same old story and tired of everything that the franchises have been showing us over and over and over again. Modern films haven't really grabbed that much as people's attention as it should have, especially with some blockbuster IPs, even though that there are a few exceptions to some blockbuster IPs and even some original films that have grabbed people's attention depending how good that they are. And it seems to be that this year there are going to be some more and more upcoming film re-releases that are coming out, like with South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence, and films like the Lego Movie and Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window, etc. Seeming to be that movie theaters are now trying to cash in for more and more re-releases, and I can't wait to see what they have in store for re-releases. Thank you for enjoying this video. Now, I know that I have been pretty much slow on uploading videos, and that's because I'm taking more of my time with editing videos than rather rushing it. But I promise you that more videos will be coming up soon, so don't worry.